Hey everyone, Once Bitten here. So this is a battle report between my Beastlords and an Ogre Khans army. You've seen this army a lot. I play this guy more than anybody else currently. Um, but we are both practicing for an upcoming tournament. As of the recording of this video, it's 1 week away. So really excited about that. Um, Neither of our lists are quite finalized. This game took place about a week ago, and we're playing around with some stuff still. So he's a very successful player. He's always on the top tables. Last year he was the winningest player in our region, which won him the title of Southern Overlord. So I know it's always going to be a challenging game against him, and I was looking forward to this. So our list will be in the description of this battle report of the video, because I don't want to take time going through everything. But he's got some mercenary veterans on my rightmost flank, a frost mammoth. Now he's bringing two characters. He's got a spellcaster that has the what is it? He's Fencer Swords, and he gets a +1 to cast and dispel. And then he's got a battle standard bearer. And other than that, he's going for bodies on the table rather than putting points in character. So there's his first unit of tribesmen. There's a second unit of tribesmen. Then he likes 2 units of Tusker cavalry, because they are really, really good for the points. They're kind of like a really, really heavy chaff. He's got 6 bombardiers in the house. So, far left, I've got a giant that's going to be vanguarding some feral hounds. I've got my Centaur Chieftain that's supposed to go around and shoot stuff. I've got my Jabberwock unit of Minotaurs. There's my Gortach. Then you're going to see some chariots. So there's a chariot facing left and the rightmost chariot here. They're both raiding chariots. And then in between them, I've got my general. That's a Beastlord on a Razortusk chariot. I've never used that before, and I just said, screw it. I'm going to do that for this tournament, and we'll see how it works. It could work well, or it could not. I don't know. He does have the upgrade on the chariot that gives all units within 6 inches an extra D6 charge. So I think because of that, I was a little bit hyper-focused during deployment about that one-trick pony of surprising my opponent with long charges. Now, it wasn't too much of a surprise because I told him what I had. But the Minotaurs, which are on the left of my Gortach, they've got the movement banner. So they're already movement 7. And then with that chariot, they basically, when they charge, they're at movement 8. So they can go pretty far. And of course, I always have the possibility of casting a totem on them from either my BSB or the Centaur Chieftain. So I've got Wildhorn unit in bus formation. I've got a battle standard bearer, and with them I've got a level 2 Lore of Wilderness. And I think the unit has the +1 strength banner. The battle standard bearer has the you can triple move once per game. I'm going to go back. If you look at the top right, I've got another unit of feral hounds and another vanguarding giant. And then way over here in the corner, I've got my scouting mongrels. And we're playing a scenario objective that you want. The way it's written just as a unit. It doesn't say a scoring unit. So this is as per the tournament we're going to. A unit in the opponent's deployment zone. Well, since we're doing diagonal deployment, I want to hide these guys behind that hill all game and then just walk up and get in his deployment zone at the end. I don't see any other use for them necessarily. Obviously, I've got my Dragon Ogre model that I use as a single unit of Razortusks. So things I'm worried about going into it. I'm worried about his shooting. His mercenary veterans have double shot pistols with poison, and there's bombardiers in the house. So he's got. It's not over the top shooting, but it's rough. It certainly can either kill a monster, or at least each one of those units could take a monster down to 1 or 2 wounds left very, very easily. Now I have the Dark Rain, which means on the first turn, if my opponent goes first, he's at -2 to hit me with shooting. So he just let me go first, and I moved up very, very aggressively. I really, at this point, I was thinking, I didn't think he could make a whole bunch of charges. And the ones he did, I just really wasn't worried about. So overall, I did that. This is the far left flank. Got the giant out of line of sight of the Tuskers. I really think with impact hits, they probably just kill the giant by the time the combat's over. I know the bombardiers can shoot at him, but there's just nothing else I can do. And we go to Ogre's turn 1. Nothing happened in the magic phase. And he called my bluff and just went in with everything. Everything except the Frost Mammoth and the Bombardiers are in a combat. Well, that's not true. The Mercenary Veterans charged my Chariot. I fled. I think they charged my dogs as well, and I fled. I like them to just having a failed charge. They can't shoot this turn, and they're not doing a whole lot. This charge here was worrying me a lot. My Giant to the right of it, we're not treating that thing at the top right as a hill. That's impassable terrain. So this combat, he's absolutely worthless, and it's a really poor position on my part. I know that I'm going to lose this combat, but I'll be steadfast. My big concern is my characters are there. So the spellcasting character really has no business being in the front line if I'm going to march up that aggressively. He really should just be behind my lines, trying to stay out of range of shooting. And my Battle Standard Bearer just needs to be able to take it, and I'm a little bit nervous about that. This is really interesting over here. So he brings this unit of 9 tribesmen into my Gortach, and I'm thinking I'm not worried about that. I mean, I think it's going to hurt, but I think he survives. He does a bunch of wounds, and you never know. When he starts rolling 6s to wound, he's going to regain wounds back. And after the first round of combat, I really think he'll just sit there and grind with them until I can bring some support in. My opponent disagrees with me. He thinks he's going to walk all over that guy. Both units of Tusker Cavalry charged the Minotaurs. Again, I wasn't thinking about D3 impact hits each. That scares me, and I certainly was hoping that one of them would fail. But again, for the most part, I'm thinking, my guys they are going to just beat the tar out of things. So I'm not worried about it. My opponent's like, yeah, you don't get it. These guys, Tusker Cavalry, are going to roll right over your Minotaurs. So a couple things happen. One, we go to the magic phase, and he forces through a bubble +1 strength. Gets irresistible force. I didn't have enough dice to stop it, especially at that point. And of course, his miscast does nothing. And that plus, I don't know if he needed that or not to win, but with that buff, he wrecked my units. It wasn't even close. The tribesmen that ran into the Gortach, I want you to look at that. They had 9 models to begin with. They still have 9 models. The Gortach did 1 or 2 wounds max. And their impact hits, they start at base strength 4 with 2 ranks. That's strength 6 with the bubble. That's strength 7. That was, impact hits alone just really put hurting on them, and then they just finished them off. They overran and joined the combat with the Minotaurs, so now my Minotaurs couldn't be steadfast. Minotaurs didn't do a whole lot, and there we have it. I mean, it was just ugly. It was the poorest performance I've seen in my beast herds ever. Over here, these guys come in, they kill both my characters, do a bunch of wounds. I pass in a steadfast, so I've got that, but it's actually, I can't support it. The Giant can't help on the right because I positioned him, I blocked him off with that impassable terrain because I'm an idiot. And on the left, I could throw a Chariot in there, but there's no way for my General to get in there. So let's see, he reforms his tribesmen to go a little bit wider. I think that's to make sure my General couldn't get in there. So we go to Beast Herd's turn 2. I mean, the game's lost as far as I'm concerned, but let's throw some models and some dice and see what happens. So we take the General and the Jabberwock into this unit on the left. I'm certain I'm going to win it, but he's going to be steadfast and, it's not going to do a whole lot. On the right, I need some big-time impact hits and then just a whole lot of luck, and I'm not sure there's enough to be had. And at the end of the day, it wasn't. I was very impressed with the Beastlord just killed my opponent's champion. Impact hits helped with the unit. The Jabberwock did a good job. He killed some stuff. So overall, I think I got pretty lucky in that combat. But my opponent was steadfast. Because the Jabberwock can fly, he doesn't count as having 1 rank. On the left, those guys just tore up my Wildhorns. Decided not to pursue him. He just let me go, and then turned so he can pick on my poor General. So we go to Ogre's turn 2. That's right, we're only at turn 2. The board looks at this. His single tusk score there at the bottom charged a pair of my fleeing dogs and pushed them off the table, and then they charged something else, and they just had a failed charge down there. Yeah, so there's these guys. I'm going to issue a challenge. I think he might be better off just refusing the challenge, but he thinks that his level 3 or level 4 with Fencer's Blades is going to be able to withstand my Beastlord. So we're going to get a challenge there. And let's see, the Bombardiers in the building shoot at my Giant, and he's taken 5 wounds so far, so he's a wound away from being dead. With 1 wound left, he's not of much value anyway. After combat, yeah, this time my opponent was right and he was wrong. My general did do some wounds to his spellcaster. Luckily, I only took a wound. With all those impact hits and everything else, only took a wound. I think I put a wound or 2 on that guy, but yeah, I didn't kill him. And he just had enough combat res that broke my general from combat. The Jabberwock rolled insanely low and stuck. That was kind of funny, but that doesn't mean much. He's just going to die real soon. We go to Beastlord's turn 3. Not a whole lot to do. The general rallies. You see my Wildhorns at the right. They rallied, but there's not a whole lot for them to do. Up at the right, look at the top middle. I took my Razorgore single model. I don't know. I just didn't have anything for him to do, and at this point, I'm just kind of throwing stuff around. But I brought him in within 24 inches of the house, which was just dumb. This was dumb, and I knew it, and I didn't care. But I threw the Centaur Chieftain at the Frost Mammoth. He did a stand and shoot with his freaking bolt thrower wielding riders on top with weapon skill 4. They only did 1 wound to him, thankfully, but he makes it in combat. He's going to have 4 attacks, and I'm going to do all four wounds go through. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't kill the guy, and this guy lowers all of my units' initiative, you know. So, and then he's only needs 1 wound against me and easily kills him. The giant I probably should have thrown in there too. I think he just would have killed both those guys, to be honest. So instead I threw the giant in the back of these guys with 1 wound left. My initiative is down 3, and they just kill my giant before we do anything. And over here, my giant charges this Tuskor. I think I at least can do something there, but I roll the thing where I do a single wound to him, and now he can't attack on his next turn. So he passes, reforms, and everything looks like that. So we go to Ogre's turn 3. We know this game is not going to go past turn 3 because that's just mopping up, and what's the point? Overall, it looks like that. He decided to have this unit of Tusker Cavalry ignore the giant, let his other guy just fend for himself, and so they joined the fray against my general. General gets charged in the rear by the Frost Mammoth. Now I'm thinking that Frost Mammoth has taken 4 wounds, so my general has a chance of maybe killing him, and that might be fun. That would save me a rear charge, and my general might be able to stick. Meanwhile, his tribesman with 2 characters charges the flank of my Jabberwock. My Jabberwock's pretty much going to die no matter what. The bombardiers in the building shoot at my Razortusk because I'm stupid. But he only took a wound. I got pretty lucky there. I think this shooting from the mercenary veterans takes this unit down under 25%, so he gets 50% for that unit. If we continue playing the game, he'd get all those points anyway. And then after combat, yeah, my general couldn't even kill the Frost Mammoth. And then just everything else. The giant died. I think the tribesman killed the Jabberwock, overran into the giant, killed him. This game was just much better played by my opponent. It was horribly played by me. The funny thing is, it was still just a ton of fun for me. I don't know what my deal is lately, but there's some games I just make some dumb mistakes, and the game goes to pot, and I'm just saying, that's fine. Let's just see what the Beastmen can do. And of every game I've played, the Beast Herds performed the worst in this one. I think it's not the kind of army that you can just throw yourself up in front of somebody and expect to stand. But usually, you know, the Beastlord, the Gortach, these guys can usually do enough damage that they kind of surprise people. There were no surprises here except on my part. They didn't stand up at all. So that was a nice, humbling game. I think I need that in preparation for the tournament. You don't want to go into it too cocky, and this game certainly brought me down a few notches. I did end up tweaking my list, but the next battle report I put up will be a practice game, and from that point on, my list stays the same. With the exception of my magic lore, I'm toying around with that a little bit. But anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has a variety of functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like or comment on the video, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. And I encourage you to do any or all of those things as a way of interacting between viewer and producer. As always, I appreciate your patronage on the channel and wish you all the best.